Hi, I'm Rebecca Trotter. I'm a blogger at the Upside Down World, and I'm here today to talk to you about forgiveness. I'm going to be sharing my 5 top strategies for being able to forgive, from really little petty things to the really big, heavy stuff. Forgiveness, of course, is a cornerstone of every major spiritual tradition. Psychology knows that forgiveness is often central to good mental health. It's hard to heal from and recover from the things that have hurt us if we are unable to forgive. Unfortunately, sometimes people think forgiveness is a weakness, is that strong people hold everyone accountable and they demand to be treated right. But Mahatma Gandhi said, "The weak can never forgive." Forgiveness belongs to the strong. It's not easy to forgive. But on the other side of forgiveness is healing, and it's freedom from what people have done to us, from the harms we have suffered, even just from what the universe has thrown our way. So, if we want to be healed, we want to be free, we need to be strong, we need to forgive. My first strategy is, first of all, you cannot forgive what you don't recognize as needing forgiveness. And what I mean by this is we need to actually take some time to think about, what is it that I'm forgiving? Not just the specific act, but the damage that was done by it, the effect that it had in your life, the hurt that it caused. I know I have a tendency to want to say, well, that was terrible, it shouldn't have happened, other people have been through worse, it's not the worst thing in the world, I'm just going to let it go. Which is fine if it's, somebody has stolen my parking spot at the mall and I have to walk an extra 50 feet in the cold to get into the store. But if I've been really hurt, all I'm doing then is I'm forgiving a little bit. But if there's this much damage, I'm leaving all the rest of that to be dealt with later. And that's not a nice thing to do to yourself. So the first thing you need to do is you need to be able to say, and really face, this is what happened. This was the harm done. This was the effect it had in my life. And this is how much it hurt. And that can be really hard. But once you've done that, then you're able to actually say, this is what I'm forgiving. This is what I want to be freed from and released from. Now, my second tip is that we need to depersonalize what happened to us. A lot of us have a tendency to think that the bad things that have happened to us and the bad things that people have done to us somehow reflect on who we are as people. It's because I'm not lovable, because I'm not worthy, because I'm dirty, because I'm a screw up, because I'm really unlucky, because everything always goes wrong for me. But the reality is that when people hurt you, what people do to you, even the things they say to you, that comes out of who they are. And you can say to me, but Rebecca, I have been damaged. I do have issues. I attract this sort of stuff. Maybe I've made some really bad choices. I've put myself in bad situations. But think about this. Even if all of that stuff were true, that would not then create an obligation for another person to treat you poorly. That would not create, it's not like no other choice. They have no other choice except for to do or say or behave in a hurtful way towards you. No, that's not the way it works. What people do comes out of who they are. And it can be helpful to spend some time actually thinking about the person who has hurt you. Not to vilify them, but to get a more realistic view. What is their issue? Why would they behave like that? What sort of baggage are they carrying? Did they know better? Should they have known better? Do they even realize what they did? And as you think about those things, you can get a better picture of where the weight of the blame, where the weight of the responsibility is, because it's not with you. If somebody has hurt you, that's not because of you, that's because of them. So you need to take some time to depersonalize what happened to you. Once you've done that, the third step is to hand responsibility for fixing or for dealing with that person over to somebody who actually can. Now, sometimes we're able to press charges against someone who's done something awful. We can use the legal system. We can maybe engage in confrontation. However, when somebody's really hurt us, what we want 3 things. We want them to know how much they hurt us. We want them to make us whole. And we want them to suffer as much as we do. That's really what we want, isn't it? And the thing is that even if you pursue means of confronting the person and holding them responsible, and you absolutely should if that's appropriate, that is not going to accomplish any of those great things. Until a person's ready to see what they did, they're not going to see it. They're not going to suffer the way that you did. They might suffer their own way, but they're not going to experience what you experienced. And they can't make you whole. They really can't. At that point, you need to take all of that stuff you can't fix, you can't make right, and you need to give it to somebody who actually can. And that's where I will turn to God. Everybody knows Jesus talked about forgiveness, and Jesus said, you have to forgive as you want to be forgiven. You may have even heard that Jesus told his disciples that what they declared forgiven on earth would be forgiven in heaven. But what you very rarely hear anyone talk about is he also said, what you declare bound on earth will be bound in heaven. So what I'll do sometimes is I'll go to God and I'll say, you know what, God? I need to start forgiving, I need to start healing, but I want this person to be bound to what they did. I want at the appropriate time, and maybe it's going to be after they die, I want them to know exactly how much they hurt me. I want them to experience what it was like to have to deal with what they did and what they created in my life. And I want you to take care of that. So now instead of a problem between me and another person, it's now a problem between God and that other person. Now what happens is that once I can hand that over to God, and then I don't have to spend my energy on being angry, being hurt, being hateful, being whatever it is that goes along with my feelings about that person is out of the picture. God's going to deal with them. Now I can take care of myself. I can start healing the damage that was done. And as I do that, I'll usually get to a place where I can go back to God and say, you know what, God? I still want them to be sorry for what they did, but I don't need them to suffer. Just let them know enough so that they would genuinely be sorry, would recognize that they screwed up, that they did something wrong to me and caused me pain. But, I don't need them to go through all this suffering. There's too much suffering as it is. And then in time, as whatever happened just kind of gets wound up into the story of my life, and maybe I even become a better, stronger person for having dealt with it, I'll get to a point where I can go back to God and I can say, if that person needs to be shown the suffering that they caused for their own benefit, for their own growth and learning, that's fine, but I don't need them to know anymore. I don't need them to suffer for what they did. It's done. It's finished. I let it go entirely. And here's the thing, is that a lot of us trying to start at that end point. But real forgiveness comes out of real healing. They go hand in hand. And it's actually very unhealthy to try and get to a point where you can just say, it's okay, I release you from all of that. I release you from all the pain you created without first healing yourself. If you start on this course, you will get to a point of healing where you can release it entirely like that. Now, once you've done that, however, you're going to get to my number 4. You need to give your brain some time to reprogram, especially if this is something you habitually get angry over, or you've been carrying around as baggage for a very long time. The way your brain works is the more you think about something, the more you kind of create a pathway. And it's like a rut in the road, and your brain is just going to go right back into it without even thinking. And if you don't know what's going on, you'll start thinking, have I really forgiven this person? Have I really let it go? Is there more work here that needs to be done? And it's not that at all. It's just brain habit. When that happens, what you need to do is just take it to God and say, I found this wandering around my head, and I think this is your responsibility now, so I'm going to leave it with you. And then go do something nice for yourself. Make yourself feel good. Take a walk. Spend some time with a friend. Get a cup of coffee, whatever. In time, you'll discover that your brain does that less and less. Now, number 5 is less of a strategy and more of an assignment. Sometime this week, I want you to pick a day to have Practice Forgiveness Day. And on this day, you're going to decide ahead of time that whatever happens that day, whatever the universe throws your way, you're just going to forgive it. You're just going to let it go as you go. And on that day, as you get stuck in traffic and your coworkers are annoying and your boss is unreasonable and your spouse is snippy and your checking account's overdrawn and your car's on the side of the road and your kids are mouthy, as you go through, you're going to just say, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive this situation. And you might discover that you have an anger problem that you need to deal with, but practice makes perfect. And if it helps, you know all this stuff is probably going to happen again like the next day. So you've got plenty of time to be all upset about it later. Just for this one day, you're going to decide, I'm going to let everything go. And as you do that, you'll find if you can learn to forgive the little things, forgiving the big things will become easier as well. So those are my 5 strategies for learning to forgive. I hope you found them helpful. If you did, I would encourage you to pass this video along to your family, friends, neighbors, strangers on the internet, on Facebook or Twitter. Again, my name is Rebecca Trotter. You can find me at theupsidedownworld.com, and I hope to see you later. Bye!